Chosen ones. If you stumbled upon this video, it's no coincidence. That tug in your spirit, that's divine timing pulling you into alignment. This isn't just another motivational message, it's a spiritual transmission. Let's start with a truth many overlook. Your presence alone carries weight, literal, energetic weight. Scientists have studied how human biofields, our energetic signatures, can subtly affect others. It's why someone can walk into a room and shift the atmosphere without saying a word. That person is often someone tapped into their spiritual frequency, someone walking in divine purpose. And for you, the chosen one, that's just people feel your energy before they hear your voice. You don't try to stand out, yet you do, not because of what you wear or say, but because of what you carry, purpose, presence, and power. Let's take a mirror, for example, a real-life metaphor. She was the quiet girl at school, never chasing attention, never needing a crowd, no flashy looks, no trending slang, and still her name lived on people's lips. Why? Because she radiated authenticity. That kind of light disrupts the status quo. And here's the kicker. Your haters, they sense it too. That's why some try to dim you with gossip, mockery, or exclusion. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because your light reflects the parts of them still in shadow. Your presence exposes what they've buried. When the light shows up, darkness panics. It's not just poetic, it's spiritual law. You are not just breaking cycles, you are them. Generational curses? You're the one interrupting the pattern. Your ancestors' prayers didn't vanish into the void, they landed on you. And every time you choose peace over chaos, growth over stagnation, and love over bitterness, you're fulfilling those prayers. You don't need a spotlight because you're the light. You don't need validation because heaven already approved you. That glow up people keep whispering about. It's not just physical, it's spiritual. It's your aura expanding. It's your discernment sharpening. It's the divine blueprint activating. So no, this isn't just a feel-good video. It's a reminder of who you are and why the world reacts to you the way it does. You were meant to fit in. You were born to stand out. And the tension you feel around others, that's often just resistance meeting revelation. They don't hate you. They hate what your presence stirs in them. Some will awaken because of you. Others will resist you because they're not ready to awaken themselves. But that's not your burden to carry. Stay until the end of this message. We're about to uncover 7 divine downloads, truths that will affirm what you've always sensed in your spirit. You'll finally understand why you feel so, because you are. You're not a copy. You're the original, a divine rebel walking boldly in a world addicted to conformity. Let's go deeper. Point 1, you trigger people just by existing. Chosen ones, your light irritates demons. Let's unpack that because it's deeper than just a catchy phrase. Imagine this, you walk into a room. You're not trying to steal attention. You're not flaunting anything. In fact, you're probably the most low-key person there, but still, heads turn. Some give you a curious glance. Others roll their eyes before you even say a word. And you're left thinking, did I do something? No, chosen one, you didn't do anything wrong. You just did what you always do. You existed in your natural divine vibration. And that's the problem for them. This isn't just about personality clashes or petty jealousy. This is spiritual physics. Your aura speaks before you do. The frequency you carry doesn't just light up a room, it exposes what's hiding in the dark. See, when you vibrate at a high frequency, operating from a place of love, purpose, and spiritual awareness, it creates what scientists call coherence. Your energy is ordered, aligned, and centered. But when someone is living in chaos, fear, or ego, their vibration is disordered, and your presence feels like a disruption. This is not metaphorical fluff. Studies in quantum physics and bioenergetics show that every human emits an electromagnetic field. The heart, in particular, gives off a field that can be measured up to several feet away from the body. When you've done the inner work, when you've healed, forgiven, and evolved, your electromagnetic field becomes more coherent. And guess what? That field literally affects others when you walk into a space. It's not just spiritual, it's scientific. So when you, the chosen one, walk in glowing with divine clarity, people living out of alignment can feel it. Not consciously, but energetically. That's what we call spiritual tension. They don't know why they feel off around you, but their shadows do. Your light activates their shame. Your confidence shines a spotlight on their insecurity. Your peace triggers their inner chaos. And if they're not ready to deal with their stuff, they'll project it onto you. That's where the side eyes come from. That's why the gossip starts. That's why they label you as weird, too quiet, or too much. You're not too anything. You're just too real. Here's what's wild, though. It's not personal, it's vibrational. You're not attacking them, threatening them, or judging them. But your authenticity feels like a judgment to someone still wearing a mask. Your calmness feels like confrontation to someone addicted to drama. Your humility feels like arrogance to someone performing for attention. This isn't ego, it's energy. Now let's be clear. Your role as the chosen one is not to shrink, blend in, or soothe others' discomfort at your presence. That's not your burden. Your responsibility is to stay in alignment, to honor your calling, and to keep radiating light, even when it makes others squint. Their irritation isn't your problem, it's their invitation to evolve. Think of it this way: when the sun shines, the only ones complaining are the people who forgot their shades. You're not the issue. They just weren't ready for that kind of brilliance, and that's okay. Keep walking with grace, chosen one. Keep shining without apology. Because your light, irritating or not, is exactly what this dark world needs. And the ones who are ready, they'll recognize it. They won't flinch. They'll rise with you. They'll heal with you, because light doesn't just irritate, it also awakens. Point 2, people copy you, then act like they invented it. Whew! If I had $1 for every time someone copied a chosen one and acted brand new, we'd be sipping coconut water on a beach with our feet up. It's almost comical, the way they start dressing like you, talking like you, and even trying to walk in your spiritual shoes. But here's the thing that keeps them up at night. They can mimic the motions, but they can't manufacture the mission. The anointing on your life didn't come from Pinterest boards or YouTube tutorials. It was forged through fire, sacred divine fire. While they were playing dress-up in your identity, you were being sharpened in silence, molded in pain, and purified through purpose. Chosen ones are not made, they're called. And that calling doesn't come with a blueprint you can download. It's spiritual, it's ancestral, it's cosmic. You were handpicked by the Most High, and what covers you can't be cloned. That's why no matter how hard they try, the energy never hits the same. They can wear your hairstyle, echo your affirmations, and even try to step into your realm of spiritual awareness. But without the divine permission, it all falls flat. There's a frequency attached to your essence that's beyond aesthetics. It's soul deep, and only those who've walked through your valley can truly understand the weight of your crown. This copycat culture is nothing new, it's ancient. Even in scripture, the magicians of Pharaoh's court tried to replicate Moses' miracles. They could mimic the staff turning into a snake, but when it came to true power, their imitation couldn't stand against divine authority. That's what's happening to you. You're walking in rooms with the weight of heaven backing you up, and they think they can duplicate that with a few quotes and some crystals. But chosen ones don't shine because they chase trends. They shine because they are the light. The irony? The very people who used to mock your uniqueness are now building their personality around it. At first they called you weird, too deep, or extra. Now they're running around acting like they discovered spiritual awakening on their own. Meanwhile, they were watching your every move like it was a master class. But don't sweat it. Let them copy. Imitation isn't a threat, it's confirmation. It means you're setting the spiritual and cultural tone without even trying. You're the blueprint, and they're scrambling to trace over your lines, hoping they won't be exposed as fraudulent. And here's the kicker. They don't even realize the cost of your glow. They want the light, but not the labor. They want the applause, but not the accountability. They want your blessings, but not your burden. What they're copying is the result of your divine process, not the process itself. But the process, the breaking, the becoming, the healing, the hours of prayer, the nights of doubt, the tears in private, that's where the real power lies. And that part can't be duplicated. That's where your anointing was birthed. That's the sacred thing they can't touch. So let them act brand new. Let them think they've reinvented the very thing they stole from you. Keep walking, keep glowing, keep serving. Because the favor on your life will always expose the counterfeit. They may try to step into your shoes, but God custom made them for your journey. And no matter how hard they try, they'll always trip, because your path was never meant for them. Chosen one, you weren't built to blend in. You were created to lead, to inspire, to shift atmospheres just by showing up. And when the imitators pop up like mushrooms after rain, don't get discouraged. Get confirmation, because every mimic is a mirror of your impact. You're not just influencing culture, you're awakening it. Keep shining, keep setting the standard, because you're not just chosen, you're undeniable. Point 3, you're always on their mind, even when they pretend you don't exist. Chosen one, isn't it funny how the ones who ghosted you still manage to orbit your life like satellites trapped in your gravity? You haven't heard from them in months, no calls, no texts, but somehow they're still watching your every move from the shadows. That little grey eye under your story, that familiar name that pops up like clockwork, yep, they're still there, not because they miss you necessarily, but because you're unforgettable. You are the moment they tried to forget but couldn't. Let's break this down psychologically. Humans are wired with something called the Zeigarnik effect, a mental phenomenon where people remember unfinished business more vividly than completed tasks. So when someone ghosts you, especially when you're a chosen one full of light, purpose, and truth, they don't really get closure. You planted seeds in their soul, seeds of inspiration, seeds of regret, seeds of what if. And now they're watering those seeds every time they replay your posts, stalk your socials, or lurk behind burner accounts. And that ex who told you that you were too much, they didn't mean it the way you thought. What they really meant was you were too real, too aware, and too powerful. You challenged their limitations. You mirrored their wounds. You forced them to face what they weren't ready to fix. And when people aren't ready to level up, they leave instead. But here's the twist. They don't really leave. They drift, quietly, watching you from afar, hoping you don't glow too bright without them. Too late, you're already on fire. Even your haters, oh, the haters, they're in secret group chats, bringing your name up like you're the latest Netflix drama. Did you see what they posted today? Why are they always so extra? But let's be honest, they've turned you into their favorite show. Hate is just obsessed admiration wrapped in denial. If they didn't care, they'd move on, but they can't. Why? Because deep down you represent what they couldn't crush. You didn't fold. You didn't break. You rose. This level of silent obsession is spiritual. Chosen ones walk with a frequency that disturbs the unhealed. You have a divine aura, and that energy lingers. People don't forget how you made them feel, especially when you made them feel seen. Most people walk through life wearing masks, but you saw through theirs. And that alone haunts them more than any ghosting ever could. So what do you do with all this attention, this weird, lingering curiosity, this silent crowd of spectators? You let them watch. You don't block. You don't chase. You don't respond. You shine. You let your life scream in ways your words never could. You elevate. Because elevation is the ultimate closure. And here's the kicker, even in silence, you're loud. Your progress echoes, your glow up blinds, your peace confuses. That's the power of being chosen. You live rent-free in the minds of people who wanted you gone, but can't stop looking back. They thought ghosting you would erase you. Instead, it amplified you. They thought you'd shrink. Instead, you expanded. They hoped you'd chase. Instead, you outgrew it. So let them scroll. Let them analyze your captions. Let them pretend they're not impressed. But you know the truth. They're still watching. And that chosen one is the sweetest revenge of all. Point 4, you heal people without trying. Ever notice how people just spill their souls the moment they meet you? Like you barely said hi and suddenly you're hearing about childhood trauma, recent heartbreaks, or deep regrets from a total stranger. No, that's not random. That's not small talk gone rogue. That's your gift, chosen one. What you carry can't be seen, but it can be felt. You walk into a room and without saying a word, people feel safe. Why? Because your presence radiates peace. Your energy speaks in frequencies most people forgot how to hear. You're not just a person. They feel like they've met a portal. Psychologically, people are drawn to what soothes them, and your presence is like a balm to a restless world. You've got that rare combination of quiet strength and open-hearted empathy. Your nervous system is regulated, and that creates a grounding effect for others. Research in neuroscience shows that our brains sync up during conversations through a phenomenon called interpersonal neurobiology. Basically, people literally feel more stable around calm, regulated individuals. That's you. Your aura does the heavy lifting. Spiritually speaking, you're a light carrier. That means even the most shattered souls instinctively move toward you, not to harm you, but to feel whole for a moment. You reflect back to them what they lost or buried. That's why strangers confess things they haven't told their closest friends. It's not just your listening skills, it's the spirit within you. You hold sacred space and they can feel it. But here's the sacred warning, and chosen ones, you must take this seriously. Not everyone deserves access to that space. Not every confession is a cry for healing. Sometimes it's a form of energetic vampirism. They don't want to grow, they want to drain. That's the danger, because you're so giving, so patient, so available. It's easy to confuse your soul with a therapist's couch, or worse, a dumping ground. And you end up exhausted, confused, and wondering why you're carrying burdens that don't belong to you. This is where spiritual discernment becomes your superpower. Just because you can carry it doesn't mean you should. You weren't sent here to fix everyone. You were sent here to shine your light, and those who are ready will walk in it. The rest, they have their journey. You can't walk it for them. Boundaries aren't just emotional, they're spiritual armor. They say, I love you, but I protect my peace first. You've got to start asking yourself, is this connection feeding my light or dimming it? Because protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's sacred. You're not being cold or hard. You're being wise. You're not cutting people off. You're cutting off access to your divine reservoir for those who haven't earned the right to sit at your table. And guess what? That's okay. Chosen ones carry something rare, and rare things are never kept on the clearance rack. Your energy is premium. It's not meant for everyone. The moment you realize that, your entire vibration shifts. You stop overgiving, you stop explaining yourself, you stop apologizing for protecting your light, and the ones who are meant to walk with you. They'll recognize your glow and honor it, not use it. So the next time someone pours their heart out to you uninvited, breathe, listen. Then ask your spirit, is this mine to carry? If not, bless them in silence and keep it moving. Your peace is your portal, chosen one. Guard it like the treasure it is. Point 5, they thought you were weak until they realized you're God's soldier. They underestimated you, chosen one. They thought your silence was surrender, your kindness was weakness, and your absence was proof you had no impact. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't see, was that God had you in hiding. See, while they were laughing behind your back, mocking your detour and whispering about your downfall, heaven was preparing your platform. And when your time came, you didn't just return, you rose, and you didn't make noise. You made history. Let's break this down. Psychologically, when people label you as too quiet or too nice, they're often projecting their own fears of irrelevance. Niceness is misread because it doesn't feed their egos. They can't understand a person who leads without flexing, who walks away instead of retaliating. But those who are truly chosen aren't in the business of proving themselves to people operating from ego. You were never weak, you were restrained. There's a difference between lacking power and knowing when to use it. Your silence was discipline. Your withdrawal was a strategy. The world loves to cheer for the loud, the flashy, and the ones who dominate every room. But you were designed to move differently, chosen. One often walks a lonely path because the calling on their life is unique. The road to spiritual mastery, emotional intelligence, and divine wisdom isn't crowded, it's sacred. When you were overlooked, rejected, or made fun of, that wasn't failure. That was God filtering the room, removing the ones who couldn't handle your light before it fully switched on, and then when it happened, your elevation, it shook the atmosphere. Not because you screamed, but because your growth became undeniable, your energy shifted, you started walking on purpose, you were no longer available to the old you, the one they thought they knew. That scared them, because now the one they wrote off is writing books, building businesses, starting movements, and living in peace. You didn't need revenge, you became the proof. And nothing disturbs a liar more than the presence of someone who actually did the work. Theologically speaking, God often chooses the least likely to carry out the greatest missions. Think of David, overlooked by his own father before he slew Goliath, or Joseph, thrown into a pit by his own brothers before ruling over Egypt. The pattern is divine. The rejected often become the resurrected, and you, chosen one, are no exception. What seemed like delay was divine preparation. And now that you're standing in your authority, they can't stand it. What really shakes them isn't that you changed, it's that you never needed them to do it. You didn't ask for permission. You didn't clap back. You didn't launch a pity campaign. You disappeared, healed, evolved, and returned more aligned than ever. That kind of comeback is terrifying. It's not emotional, it's spiritual. And the people who doubted you, now they're sweating. Because the narrative they built about you is crumbling under the weight of your truth. And here's the kicker. You didn't even try to flex. You just are. There's a quiet power in authenticity that no fake persona can rival. When you're aligned with your purpose, the room shifts before you speak. Your presence convicts without confrontation. Your elevation exposes their excuses. And that's why they talk, that's why they watch. That's why they can't sleep, because you becoming who you were destined to be shines a spotlight on who they refuse to become. So, no, your comeback wasn't loud. It was legendary, a silent, sacred triumph, the kind heaven applauds. And while they're still gossiping, you're still growing, still glowing, still going. Because chosen ones don't chase applause. They walk in alignment. And when you move with purpose, backed by heaven. Point 6. You were designed to be the blueprint, not the backup plan. You were never meant to fit in, chosen one. You weren't built for blending in. You were crafted for standing out, for disrupting the norm, for breaking molds that never fit you in the first place. And that's what unsettles them. See, the world teaches people how to follow. From the first day of school, you're taught to sit down, be quiet, raise your hand for permission, and color inside the lines. But you came with crayons made of fire, drawing galaxies outside their boxes. You were never designed to follow trends. You are the trend before the world even catches up, and that makes you dangerous. Labels are society's way of feeling safe. People love categories. This one's smart, that one's weird, she's pretty, he's cool. Labels make people feel like they understand you. But when they met you, they couldn't find a box big enough, deep enough, or bold enough to hold your essence. You didn't just challenge the label. They choked on their own attempt to define you. That's the power of authenticity. It can't be fabricated, and it damn sure can't be controlled. You are an original, and in every industry, in every walk of life, the original is always the most valuable. Why? Because copies are plentiful, but originals are rare, and people fear what they can't copy. There's an ancient saying, a prophet is never accepted in their hometown. That's because when you come into a space with the kind of light that exposes darkness, people who live in shadows will either resent you or try to dim you. You didn't make enemies by attacking anyone. You made them simply by existing fully. That's the cosmic joke. You didn't have to clap back, you didn't have to defend, you just had to rise. And every time you rise higher, someone who chose comfort over courage feels triggered. You know what makes it even more fascinating? Neuroscience backs this up. When a person acts in a way that contradicts another's limiting beliefs, it activates something called cognitive dissonance, a psychological discomfort that happens when someone sees proof that their old beliefs may be wrong. So when you walk boldly in your purpose, when you thrive after they doubted you, and when you glow in your own frequency without apology, it shakes people to their core, not because you hurt them, but because you proved them wrong just by breathing. And still, some people will try to gaslight you into shrinking. You're too much. You've changed. You think you're better than us. That's not feedback, chosen one. That's fear talking. That's their inner critic trying to silence you before your greatness makes them confront their own silence. But your job is not to be digestible. You're not here to make others comfortable. You are not a watered-down version of yourself for the sake of their ego. You're not tea. You are thunder. Let them choke on your greatness if they weren't ready to taste the real. Your originality is rebellion. Your authenticity is resistance. In a world of manufactured personalities and cloned ideologies, being real is revolutionary. Don't forget, chosen one, you weren't born to chase the crowd, you were born to awaken it. The very energy that made you feel like a misfit in the beginning is the same power that makes you magnetic now. You carry a blueprint the world didn't design but desperately needs. So walk it boldly, talk it loudly, shine it unapologetically. Because the moment you stop shrinking, the world is forced to expand around you. And those who tried to dismiss you will one day be forced to watch you from the very seats they swore you'd never stand on. Let them talk, let them whisper, let them watch. But don't you ever dare water yourself down to make yourself easier to swallow. If your truth is too strong, tell them to bring a bigger cup. Point 7. Your elevation is causing a chain reaction. Let's end on a high note, chosen one. And not just any note, but the kind that resonates across timelines, rippling through every space you enter without saying a single word. Because let's be honest, your glow up isn't just personal, it's prophetic. You're not just rising, you're activating. Your elevation is unsettling to those who never thought you'd make it out of the fire they left you in. Your peace isn't just calm, it's loud. Loud enough to convict, to confront, and to call out every mask others have worn just to pretend they're whole. You see, when a chosen one begins to step into their full light, it becomes a mirror. And not the kind people like. It's a mirror that reflects everything others have been avoiding: laziness, envy, bitterness, and complacency. It forces them to look inward and ask, why does their joy bother me? Or what have I been doing with my life while they've been building theirs quietly? Psychologists refer to this phenomenon as social comparison theory. Coined by Leon Festinger in 1954, this theory suggests that people determine their own social and personal worth based on how they stack up against others. And baby, you're not just stacking, you're soaring. Your happiness becomes their inner critic's megaphone. Your confidence, a direct contradiction to their self-doubt. That's why they can't look away. That's why they low-key hate that you healed, that you're glowing, that you stopped asking for a seat and started building your own table. They'll say you changed. Of course you did. You outgrew the mold they tried to trap you in. But here's the beautiful twist, chosen one. Your evolution doesn't just irritate, it awakens. You are what we call a spiritual activator. Your energy has the frequency of truth. Your presence shakes the slumber of others. Your heaven's alarm clock set to divine timing, and when you show up in your calling, you remind others of their own sleeping potential. And sometimes conviction feels like offense. It's not that you're trying to show off, it's just that your mere existence demands others take inventory of their own lives. That's not arrogance, that's divine alignment. This is the part people don't talk about, the spiritual responsibility that comes with rising. Your glow isn't just yours, it's a light tower, and some will run from it, others will follow it. But either way, it's working. Even the ones who envy you, you're planting seeds in their soil, and one day those seeds might just grow into their own awakening. That's why gossip gets louder when your truth enters. Lies scramble, confusion scatters, and illusions can't stand the heat of your clarity. So yes, chosen one, you're rising. And while some may act like they don't notice, trust me, they feel it in their bones. Your name is in rooms your feet haven't stepped into yet. Your impact is causing silent revolutions. Your peace is a protest. Your joy is a sermon, and your presence, it's a portal. You didn't just survive, you transcended, and in doing so you become the very proof that light always wins. Chosen one, it's not your imagination, it's not arrogance, it's alignment. You've probably sensed it your entire life, an unshakable feeling that you don't quite fit in, that your journey has always felt like walking upstream while the world floats downstream. That inner awareness is not a delusion, it's a divine frequency. You're not just existing, you're vibrating at a higher level, and people feel it even if they can't explain it. Your presence doesn't just enter a room, its stagnancy provokes reflection and wakes up the dormant. Science has shown that human beings can detect subtle energy shifts and emotional atmospheres in seconds, even without words. It's called emotional contagion, and you, chosen one, are often the catalyst. The unease some people feel around you is the mirror you unknowingly hold up to their lives. Your peace exposes their chaos. Your discipline highlights their distractions. Your authenticity clashes with their performative masks. You are God's divine disruption, sent not to conform, but to challenge, elevate, and awaken. This is why you're often misunderstood, isolated, or even envied. It's why your name lingers in conversations when you're not in the room, because your energy cannot be dismissed or duplicated. Sociologists have long observed how unique individuals disrupt group dynamics. That's you, a sacred anomaly, a spiritual spark that burns too brightly for the dim spaces around you. But don't shrink to make others comfortable. You were never called to blend in. You were born to break patterns. You are a walking awakening. Your silence is louder than their noise. Your smile softens spiritual warfare. Your prayers shake atmospheres. That's why darkness resists you and why light surrounds you. It's not a coincidence that people imitate you, compete with you, or talk about you. That you carry something rare, something holy. So walk tall, shine bright, and never apologize for the mystery, the fire, the wisdom, or the favor on your life. You've been called to stand out, not to settle, to carry purpose, not popularity. You are not everyone's cup of tea, and that's the point. You're the sword, not the spoon, the divine signal, not background noise. They're watching, they're whispering, they're sweating. And guess what? They should be, because when the chosen one steps into alignment, the world doesn't just watch, it awakens. So go on. Carry that light like a crown. There's no need to dim what God has destined to shine.